Guy Stevens, member of the movie The Warriors, gang member The Riff. Riff! Yeah, right! You're listening to the movie Raid.
It's time for the movie Raid, and tonight's victim is actor Guy Stevens, known for his role in The Riffs in the movie The Warriors. Hello.
Hello. How you doing, Mike?
Fantastic, fantastic. So let's start with the location of The Riffs hideout. Location in the city, or was any other location?
Location for the movie. My scene was shot in Manhattan on the west side, on 8th Street, I think it was, in a garage. That's where the Gramercy Riffs, in the Gramercy part of Manhattan, which is in real life is Gramercy. You would call the Gramercy Riffs. That's the game that I was in, the Gramercy Riffs. All right. It was 7th and 11th Avenue in Manhattan. When he shot the scene was Cyrus. Now, Cyrus, that's Roger Hill. Roger Hill was my grandmother in real life. Roger Hill, Can You Dig It? That's Roger Hill. He was my grandmother's godson. Didn't know that, did you? His mother, Roger Hill's mother, and my grandmother was very good friends. My grandmother lived on the 4th floor in the Bronx, and she lived on the 5th floor, 872 Boston Road in the Bronx.
Now, having getting this role in The Riffs, having to be in first approach to it, like, did you think that financially this might actually help you out a little bit, or was this just one of those just live day by day? Because this was back in 1979, 1978, in terms of filming wise. Was this something that you thought this might have worked for you in terms at that moment as an actor, or did you think this was going to be kind of a we'll see what happens and not really care for it at the time?
Exactly. You know something? I started thinking like that. Let me say something. I was in the Bronx. I was walking as I'm a dog trainer, and I called up. Happened to call up a guy I used to work for. I used to train dogs, but it's Captain Haggerty. His name was Captain Arthur J. Haggerty. Captain Arthur J. Haggerty on the bottle, Mr. Clean. Mr. Clean was a real person. That's Captain, the bald-head guy with the earrings. His name is Captain Arthur J. Haggerty. True, real person. I gave him a call in reference to working dogs because he wanted me to stay in contact with him. I did a lot of attack work with him. As a matter of fact, President Noriega of Panama, we trained and sold a dog for him, and I had to retrain a dog that went to President Noriega. But I asked him to give him a call. It was in August, and he said, "Guy, give Jerry Ann a call. She has a movie that you could be in." So I gave Jerry. Jerry was, I understand, I think she was Crown Forces double. But I understand Jerry Ann was a stunt woman. I gave her a call. I met her on a movie on the set in Central Park. They were shooting hair. I said, Cam, I always wanted to be a stunt man. This was 1977. Always wanted to be a stunt man. We went on the set, and they didn't use the dogs. But what happened, she took my number that year, 77, 78. She gave Captain a call. I happened to call the captain. Coincidentally, boom, from right there. Came down, I went down to location Sylvia Faye. Sylvia Faye's casting, big casting lady down in Manhattan. I took off from there. From there, we went down to the shoot, met Craig Baxley, one of the drivers for Dukes of Hazzard. I met him. That was that. Got into the movie Warriors. Wasn't a Screen Actors Guild member, but that day I got paid. Good, non-union. Took off from there. I went to started meeting stunt coordinators. Cliff Cudney, I used to see the shoots in Manhattan. Stopped by actually. Right, so when I got my resume, he gave me a resume picture. Then from there, took off and met him. Cliff Cudney, gave my resume. Workout days, went out to workout, a stuntman workout. And, I started meeting people, man. And my goal was getting to the stunt world. I dislocated my arm, so I had to fall away from that, man.
In terms of like getting into this role, even though there's a lot of very minor roles, and of course we know the main setting here is of course the gang, the Warriors, but having to be in just a part of the gang, it doesn't necessarily have to be like the gang leader or lieutenant or whatever. The fact is, like, how much of this role did you actually put into it? Did you think this was just, okay, I'm going to just stand here and just act like a part of the gang, or did you actually thought that this was much more than what it seems?
No, I did. I said, so I'm going to take it from here. From here, I stood there. I was an extra. Some opportunity, blessings just started to come through because I stuck with it. My goal was to be a stuntman, and I was good at receiving blows, meaning you throw a blow at me or punch at me, I'd make it look real. But what happened was to throw a blow back, it was hard for me because my arm would come out of my shoulder, receiving and car driving. And, I didn't get them scenes because I'm going to be honest with you. It's like, Mike, it hurt me that I dislocated my arm, and I have a dislocated arm that keeps falling out. You're not 100%, man. You could forget about, the stunt work unless you get a little something that's not going to affect your arm. And, I couldn't even throw, man. I couldn't throw 70 feet. My left arm was short, fall out. And so years later, in 86, I got surgery anything that happened to do with a dog that protects you. The stunt work, I had to forget about that. Well, reality was you're not going to be the stunt man. You want to be, just stick with the dog training. You're going to be New York Knicks. I did several scenes. I worked on all my, as a matter of fact, I met Don Robinson, one of the great scenes there too. He died doing a rehearsal stunt. Don Robinson was always in Burt Reynolds' movie with Stuntman and Sharky's Machine. That fell out the 14th story building. Got to meet him. He called me. I got called for the movie Nighthawks. That's Stallone and Billy Dee Williams. Got that call. And that same day when I saw Don Robinson, I didn't have my resume. But anyway, that same day I get Captain Cole and let him know that I got a call from, I met Don Robinson for Nighthawks. I said, okay, I'm glad you called. Guess what I'm working on now? That same day, I'm working on all my children. And I needed to train a dog for all my children. Even though I didn't get no work doing stunt work, I would do maybe a commercial with a dog and work on all my children, train some adult ones on the set. That's what that was, I stayed into the...
Since this film was released, what was the more advantages and disadvantages in the film, filming the film, and then outside the film, like after the film was done? What was the more for you? Now you mentioned that since you dislocated your arm and stuff, and having that's of course clearly it's a disadvantage. But like, were there other advantages and disadvantages performing the role? And then after the movie was released, was there anything that actually affected you personally as an artist, or as far as recognition, or anything else related?
It's like, what I should have done was, I didn't think about it. What I should have done was got into the Screen Actors Guild. And at that time, you need to say a few words. From what I understood, get your card, the Screen Actors Guild card, and that's the advantage. But what happened, I didn't go for that. I got depressed, man. To be honest, I got depressed. That's where I was sitting down and hating myself, is that the reason why I dislocated my arm, because it was over a fight. I jumped in my face. It broke me. I hit him. Wow, man, never forget that day. I hit him. Matter of fact, it was a friend of mine. I hit him, and he really provoked me, man. Wow, shook my arm out, and it messed me up. I got into a depressed thing. But it was, man, it was lesson to be learned. Controlling your temper, thinking before you act. If I had got my Screen Actors Guild card, I would have got more. But things happened in the year '78. Discos, parties, and what happened? Distractions came along. Partying, and you're not focused. Being a stuntman, which I had to say, well, you're not going to do the stunt work that you want to do, which I want to do. I wanted to do building falls. I wanted to get at the building falls, and what happened? You need your arms for that, man. You need to learn how to use your arms and control the balance up in it while you're coming down into whatever your airbag or your boxes. I got depressed, man, because I couldn't do that, man, and it hurt. Like, you got into the fight, and it would affect me down the road. It's life, man, but it's what it is, man. I come to terms with, look, okay, I have to. What am I going to do now? I'll continue training dogs. That's my happiness. Doing my obedience, my protection training. You just have to now. You're going to do work for professional people, and by meeting professional people like Cliff Cutting, the stunt coordinator, he knows this actor. Everybody knows everyone. You have to do what you have to do. Is all right. Look, get up, dust yourself off, get it together, and focus on what you want to do for the future. Distractions came along the way. You just have to guard in your life. Things start turning out. Other than that, I'm all right now. Physically, I'll be 61 March 24th. I'm still around. My foot the path is 47 years old, man. I'll continue, man. All right. So now what I'm doing now is 60 to 61, back into the game, back into the business. Your mistakes that you make, Mike, in life, I'm newborn now. I'm born again, so I know what I've done in the past. Don't let it happen again. You know what you did wrong. You know what's right and what's wrong. Fresh new life, do the right thing. And my thing now is to let the younger person, the people that these guys are, these kids now are different. The gangs now, there's really no gangs these days. Gangs back in my days when I was a Black Assassin, when I was a gang member, hey man, I was in the Black Assassin. You had the Black Spades, Black Assassin, Peacemakers, Ghetto Brothers. We had a lot of gangs involved, man. Real gangs, and some had guns. It's not the way it is now. These guys get M16s. You got AK-47. We didn't have them. I was in a baby assassin. We can get that now with no problem. Have guns. We had sticks, baseball bats, stick with nails in it, chains, knives. Not about that now. Now it's about guns. That even changed, man, because the gangs are not like roads, the crips. Yeah, you don't have these gangs like you used to in the 60s. It's different.
since the release of this film of the Warriors. The fact is, I mean, there are gangs, but they are the kind that are so influenced, real or not real gangs. There's so many people that are been influenced by this particular film, because this film was about honor and uniting. And some people could probably take it as a negative because of the content in this film. But the fact is, these gangs all believe in the same thing. They all want the same thing. Cyrus was trying to get everybody to prove that they can unite, they can take over, and they're not taking no more crap from nobody. And the fact is, this has such a powerful feeling, a speech, influence, and since then, like, so many people has been influenced by this film, and that gives them the power to stand up, the power to unite, and the most positive aspect. And you can imagine everyone's dressing up the Warriors, the orphans, the Riffs, punks. I mean, just everybody. It's just they're all in the same place, and nobody, like from the movie, nobody is wasting nobody. Everybody's just having a good time. So with you being a part of all of this and having to get this recognition, you can look back at this and say you were a part of something that became such a big impact in cinema as well as culture and everybody's lives, because every day, every other year or whatever, they always have the Warriors events and anniversaries and all kinds of stuff, and that's the best thing. And that's a really proud moment. And even it doesn't matter if you were just standing there, it doesn't matter if your face was in there. The fact is, you were a part of it. The fact is that you were there, and you lived in an era that filmmaking was still very rough then, and especially when this film was being made, there were real gangs back then too. I mean, there wasn't just play gangs. There were some serious real gangs during the making of this film while on the set. Achieving this recognition for you, the fact is, do you think this is something that from the Warriors, do you think like that speech, do you think that you can apply this in today's society? Do you think that would have been better?
Hey Mike, 100%. You said that well, and it's true. It's like what was important, a part of what he said when Cyrus says no one's basic, no one. The gangs at war in the street, they all together, standing and listening, to this one guy and said, we can do this. We don't have to fight. We're bigger than the cops. We don't have to fight. Let's stop fighting among each other. And what's happening in real life, this actually happened. With the gangs, it actually happened. They had a meeting up in the Bronx on 174th Street in Hoe Avenue at the Boys Club. This actually happened. The gangs got together. It's gotten bigger than it was now by having, what do you call it, extradition. When they get autographing. I mean, these people, I never thought that it would be like this. I mean, you got Warrior fans. You see Warrior page on Facebook, a Warrior organization. What's going on is people don't just want to see. They got enough Warrior autographs. And what I was told yesterday was, listen, you want other members, you got the Warriors, but what about the other gang? What about the Lizzies, the Orphans, the Rips, the Punks, Nudes, those other people that made the Warriors without them chasing the Warriors? Hey, there's no Warriors. Warriors running the road. The people in the roller skaters, the Punks. Other than that, man, I never thought it would be like this, man. I went on Facebook, posted my picture of me in the Warriors. Hey, all of a sudden, my page is right there. You was in the Warriors? Dave helped me out a lot. Dave helped me out. He's like my manager. Things are going to happen this year, with the war, autographing. And he said to me, he said, they want other members of the movie in the Warriors. They want other members like you guys, Red Orphans, Lizzies. They got enough Warrior stuff. They never mess with Warriors no more, but they want autographing pictures of other members in the movie. Never thought, I'll say it again, Mike, I never thought it would be like this. All these big events coming up.
I do have a request saying that, could you say the line from the movie?
Riff. Yeah, right.
Go ahead and plug in any websites or any events that you're going to be attending to regarding to the Warriors, or any other projects that you might be working on or anything related.
Or anything, but there are things that are being planned things with me and my manager, to event. It's going to work. I'll keep you posted on that.
Well, there you have it, everybody. That is actor Guy Stevens.
Ladies and gentlemen,